Hey everybody, from making the YouTube videos, people write in and say all kinds of stuff, and it's really cool. Well, there's this one girl, and she looks like Snow White, she sounds like Snow White, her name is Julia, and she's a little princess, and the one character that Snow White really loves, other than the prince, is Dopey. So she wrote me a beautiful letter. She also wrote how much she loved Charlotte's Filmations and things like that, and she's just a nice girl. She wants to become a Disney princess and be Snow White for just 1 year is what she says, and then she wants to teach deaf children, which I think is really noble. So good luck to you, Julia, and thank you for the kind words. So let's see if we can't put together Dopey, and we'll have him looking up at his favorite princess. Okay, let's see how this goes. So we're going to start with a circle. So I'm just going to draw one thing at a time and then hold up and show you. Now your circle has to be very light. So there you go. It's a very light circle. You see where I have it on the page? Basically in the middle of the page. But he's going to be looking up and his head's going to be turned. So it's going to be an upward shot and 3/4. So I'm going to turn his head this way. So we've turned his head 3/4. And then we're going to have him looking up. So the center of his face would be right there. See? If you put his eyes and his nose, he'll be looking up in that direction. Up at the most beautiful princess in the world. Charlotte really likes Snow White too. Charlotte could be Snow White any day of the week. And Charlotte dances and sings too. So many girls really should just follow that and try. And even if you can't become a princess at Disney, work at Disney. I did. It was the greatest experience in my life, and I can't wait to go back. You meet amazing people. I have friends from Disney that'll be friends my whole life. Alright, so once we put his nose in, I'm sorry, I'm not describing what I'm doing here. First we put that nose in right at the center. So where the lines meet, I put in that nose. And it starts off like with a lump or a hill or a bump and comes down and right down like that. See? Like that. Then off the side of his nose, I just make a little cheek, but notice it's on the horizontal line. So I make a little cheek for the eye to rest on. Then 2 ovals. One just behind the nose, right there, and that one. Once I have those shapes in, I want to bring them to life right away. So I'm going to give them 1, 2, 3 long eyelashes. 1, 2, 3 long eyelashes, like that. And let me just darken some of these things that I have so they show up a little better. I'm noticing on the camera they're not showing up really well. Make his nose nice and round and plump. And then we're going to have him looking up. So we're going to put ovals inside the ovals, like that. See, now he's starting to look up. Then a little circle, which is a highlight. We won't color that in on each eye like that and that. And then the actual pupil is inside there, is inside the iris. So basically it's like 3 circles. A little one, a medium, and a big one inside his eyes. So I'll hold that there for a second and let you get caught up. See the 2 highlights, the little circles that are like perfectly circle, and then just one oval inside another oval. When I shade it in, it'll make a little bit more sense to you. So we go ahead and we shade that in like that. Now Dopey's not easy, so I'm just going to go step by step and show you. Now that we have this cheek here, this part of his cheek, we can form the next part of his cheek, which will lead us right to his mouth. So we bring it down like that, and you'll see those 2 curved lines together form that cheek. Now on the other side of his nose, and it's okay to go outside the circle if you have to here. The circle was just a guide to get us started. You put that line there. So I have this part of his cheek and then that dimple. That's what that is a dimple. So then we can just come along. I keep referring to my model sheet, which is off screen, because I drew it once. Here, I'll even show you. I sketched this out. See? Look how cute. He's looking up at Snow White. He's just got so much love in his eyes. It really is a cute little sketch. So we're going to draw that right now, but let me get back to it. Alright, so then we have a big smile. From this cheek, a big smile to there. And then we can form his mouth, which should take us right to the bottom of the circle. Even outside the bottom, it's okay. Now I want to flare that line down and under, and give him a big happy smile like that. Like that. Notice here's the bottom of my circle, and that's kind of where the bottom of the inside of his mouth ends. So it kind of all fits real nice if you know what you're doing and you space things out right. Inside his mouth I'm going to throw a tongue like that, and then I'm going to shade in the same direction I shaded in his pupils. I'm going to shade in the back of his mouth. I have some other people that asked me for some cool things. Somebody wanted a Barbie fairy and a tomater, and I'm working on it. So there's his big happy smile. So now let's just bring a chin around that smile. A lot of his mouth is like Mickey Mouse. In fact, a lot of things about Dopey are like Mickey Mouse. Sorcerer Mickey anyway, or the Sorcerer's Apprentice. But now here's where we really start to shape his face. It's like a J or a fish hook. I say that a lot because a lot of these shapes in these cheeks are like that. Like that. See how happy he is just from that one move? And then we're going to bring out this other cheek here. We're going to come outside the circle and bring it right to his mouth. He's got sort of a big wide head. He is a dwarf after all. So now look, if you look in proportion to the circle, here's my circle. I'm outside that circle with that cheek and bring it right back down to the chin. See, they both end at the chin. If you look real close, you'll see that the chin sort of flares up, so the cheek line goes behind it. That's because his head is turned on that side. There's a little tiny dimple, just a little bump. I hope this shows up on the camera. At the top of that cheek, there's just a little bump. See that little bump right there? That will help us form his forehead, and from there we can go right up and give him his big forehead, like it's really round. Now I'm going to do this light because he's going to have a hat on, so we don't want to commit to too much. Like that. See, so we're starting to form his head. Now his ear, let's just build his ear. Let's work on this side of his head a little bit. And if I can't fit it on the page, I'm just going to bleed it right off. That's the right thing to do. You don't want to force it to make it fit. Fit what you can, the rest you bleed off. Keep it in proportion. That's always the right answer. So I'm going to go, and I am. I'm going to go right off my page a little bit. But if I come right back where I belong, you'll see it makes a lot more sense that way. A lot more comprehensive when you just follow the rules. Even though there really aren't a lot of rules in art, and you should be free to create any way you want, some things just have to look right. So, see how I had to clip off some of his ear there? I could have continued that or added another page to continue it, but I want to keep the shape true to form. I mean, these are Disney drawings. You want to be accurate. Disney doesn't mess around. They do everything is top quality, man. They do everything the best. And that's where I was trained, so I know how important that is. When we put in this little shape, it's like the letter H but backwards right here. It shows the inside of his ear. It forms it a little bit for you. Alright, so with that done, the reason I wanted to jump over and do that ear is because now I could bring his hat up over his forehead and show you. Now he's got that really cool hat, like that dwarf hat. So it's an S curve. It comes out and goes up. And I'm just going to stop there. I'm going to leave it just like that. See, it came from his ear, where his ear meets his head, up and over. So now you can almost see how I'm forming his head back into his hat. So now that I have his hat there, then I can commit to his head. I kept it very light before because I wasn't sure where his hat was going to be till I made his ear. One thing connects to the other. So now you can start to see, oh my goodness, he's so cute. He's looking up at his favorite princess. I'm sorry, I have a hair on my thing. Alright, so what we're going to do now is give a little thickness to that hat and bring it down. And it sort of ends right about around to where his eye is. So I'll show you in a second. Let me just I have to sketch it light and go over it dark so you can see it. See, so now we have that. But where that meets the eye, like I needed a place to stop it, so I stopped it at the eye. But where that meets the eye, look, I can make his other ear right from there. And it comes out, sort of flops a little bit. It comes back to there. He's got big ears, Dopey, which is really cute. And then we'll put the inside of that ear. Now you won't see the whole inside because his head is turned, but you're left with that. Let me see. I'll get my fingers out of the way. See? Get that nice big ear on the other side. Now there's a little wrinkle to his hat, and it comes back down and falls kind of back over his shoulder. It ends up under his ear. First I want to make his shoulder. So here's what I did. I did the back of his hat right here, all the way back, and ran it right off the page. And then if you move down the drawing, right from where his ear meets his cheek, I just put a big bent line to represent his shoulder. I need a place for the back of his hat to rest. So I have to form his shoulder, and then his hat sort of droops. So right where his shoulder is, I make another little curved line. And you might want to wait for the next step before you add that, because it's just a simple S-curve that shows the back of his hat. I know that might sound confusing, but let me show you. So see how there's a lump? Like, imagine his whole hat sitting and resting on his back of his shoulder. There's the little lump I made, and then I told you to wait, and then this beautiful S-curve right off the page. Like that. Because then we can bring in his neck. His neck comes back like this, so right from under his chin, I bring his neck back. And with that done, I come right to this point of his shoulder, and I make the collar of his shirt down in this area. So I just come down around where his neck is and right back up under his chin. Another fish hook or letter J, like that. See, I just brought this line down. It pinched and met right where the cheek is, down and under like that. I know, maybe I make it look easy, but I've had a lot of practice, and that is the secret. You just got to practice, and you have to love what you do. This line's a little tricky. It's his collar. It comes down from under his chin, wraps around that fishhook shape, and kind of S's out like that. See? Really cool. With that, you can add that other wrinkle to his shirt. Now he's looking up, and look how happy he is. Now I'm going to run out of time here, so let me just quickly add. He's got two eyebrows, two sets. Like, one's actually an eyebrow and one's just a wrinkle. I'm going to run out of time, so I want to finish this video and make it just right. Well, Julia, this is for you, and thanks for all the kind words. And I love your dream. I want you to follow it. Always dream big. Believe in what you're doing. Don't let anybody stop you. If it's what you really want in your heart, you can make it happen. And there's Dopey looking up at you, and he's so proud of you. I'm Timmy Britt, and thanks for joining me. Stay tuned. We'll make other videos, okay? Don't forget to sign your work. Always draw light and dream big. Thanks, everybody. And thank you, Julia. You're amazing. Bye.